Movie hot takes. This is a new video series about my hot takes. And I'm doing this video series because I try to have a video every single day. I don't know if people notice this, and I end up having multiple. But sometimes there's gaps in the schedule and I can't put out a video every single day. So I don't have a video planned for Tuesday. And I thought, well, what a better time than to launch my new series, Video Hot Takes, which are not going to be a consistent video series on the channel. They're just going to be whenever I feel like posting them, or I don't have a video planned for whatever day. And this one we're talking about a couple Christmas movies that are very popular because it's we're in October, but I went into Ross, right? Ross had all their Halloween T-shirts for horror movies. Went in there, like a week later, it's all Christmas shit. So everybody's already thinking about Christmas. And I'm gonna tell you my least favorite Christmas movies of all time. There are worse Christmas movies than these movies, but these ones are my least favorites. And the first one is The Polar Express. Uh, this was a movie that I was shown a lot as a kid because it was my brother's like childhood favorite. Uh, he really got into the hot chocolate scene. It was like my older brother's like favorite scene in the movie. He loved the movie. We watched it a lot. And this movie is awful for a number of reasons. I'm not gonna pretend it's like doesn't have good things about it. I think what's really cool about this movie is Tom Hanks is really good in the movie. Now, Tom Hanks is a great actor to the point where he could be shitting out a performance and it will still be good. But the thing that's really neat and unique about his performance here is he plays three characters. There's the guy on the top of the train, the hobo looking guy, and then you have the conductor. That's Tom Hanks, very obviously. Santa is also Tom Hanks. And so all these characters are metaphors for different things, and they're very unique and different. And so that's really, really neat. That's something I like about the movie. I love the score to this movie. Now, one problem with the score is they reuse it so much during the movie that it ruins it. But if you take it, but still, it's still beautifully composed music and all that. Where this movie falters is the god awful animation. Robert Zemeckis tried to do a style where he made animation look real, and you can make animation look real, but this specific style. So if you like the Planet of the Apes movies, the live action ones, and you think, wow, those look really real, that's the style that he used. Now I'm not. Then that's a really cool, unique technique for a live action movie, where you're trying to give life to an animated character in a real setting. This is very different. He was filming real life people to make real life people look real. There is no reason that this movie should not have been filmed in live action. It might have been expensive CGI wise, but also this movie might have been cheaper CGI wise because they wouldn't have so many scenes of like this ticket flying through the wind. These just long, drawn out sequences that have no business being as long as they are. This is also the problem of like a movie where you're adapting a 5-page storybook into a film. There's just so much wrong with this story and how it's played out. Also, the messages about believing and things like that, while not bad per se, are over drawn out and very cringy and very not subtle at all. Unlike the book, which is very heavily subtle about its themes and about belief and blah blah blah. And so it just ruins this book. And in fact, both of these had kind of a book theme to them of why I don't like them. Second one we got here is Jim Carrey's The Grinch. This is a weird movie because I was under the impression for years that people hated this movie. But now there just seems to be like all these people who grew up in the 90s and they're just like, classic. What drugs are you smoking? Because here's the thing. I see the vibe of what they're going for here. I actually like the idea and approach to this movie, which is that Jim Carrey's character is the Grinch, and he's very mad at Whoville and all that. And it's very clear that in Whoville, the people there are so into the commercialization of Christmas and all that that they are become meaner and nastier people. And so it's like a commentary on that. The problem is that's the tone of the movie, and not enough of the characters actually learn. It shouldn't be the Grinch just learning, it should be all the people learning, and they clearly don't at certain points in the movie. There's also a lot of humor that is just disrespectful in a Dr. Seuss adaptation, where you're sitting there going, man, that so if that dog is kissing, if the mayor's kissing that dog's ass, do you think Dr. Seuss would be watching that and not rolling in his fucking grave? Of course he would. So there's so many scenes like that, and it's just like the humor here is very offensive to Dr. Seuss and his legacy. The the CGI is dated and not great looking, and the practical effects are cool, but they're also ugly and kind of mean spirited, which is not really something you want out of a Dr. Seuss adaptation. That's the whole thing about why I hate this movie so much. It is a mean spirited movie. I don't like the Santa Claus with Tim Allen because I think that movie's also mean spirited. But the difference is with that movie is it doesn't try to be mean spirited. This movie actively tries to be mean spirited. I don't know what happened with this movie, but this is easily the worst Ron Howard film I've ever seen, and I will never buy this movie. I love the animated Grinch. I watch that every single year, but I do not religiously choose to watch this at all because it's just awful. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the. That's my hot takes on these classic Christmas movies. I don't think The Grinch is really a classic Christmas movies. We're just getting so many people who grew up with this. That's kind of like Casper in the 90s. If you grew up with Casper, that's a classic, but it's really not a classic.